So hi guys, welcome to stage 64 of the Build the Jaguar E-type. Now unfortunately this isn't the first time this has happened. I didn't receive the magazine with the parts, and it is actually quite a complicated issue. As you will see from the video, I hope, it is still buildable, but I did need to sort of draw on some resources, which was the Model Space forum and also the Model Space YouTube channel. Now I'm not saying you don't need to see my videos, because I'm really honoured when you watch them and it really helps me, but it does go to show actually that using a single resource sometimes isn't going to be enough. By all means, go out and find as many resources as you can, make friends, ask them. More help is better. So let's see how I got on. So hello, welcome to stage 64 of the Build the E-type Jaguar. Now unfortunately this isn't for the first time, but I've received the parts for this issue, but I haven't received the magazine. So my reference material is Model Space UK's own YouTube channel, as well as their forum, which does include some rather good build diaries. So let's have a look at what we've got. Just trying to find my tweezers, which I cannot find at this point in time. There we go, there we go. So we received the steering wheel case top and bottom. So that's these two pieces here. This is the top and the bottom of the steering wheel case. At this exact moment I don't know which is which. We have the steering column, which I believe is this piece. Now this is metal. That's fantastic. We have the control stalk, which is this piece here, and I can't seem to get a good focus. There we go. We have the instrument mount, instrument panel glasses. Instrument mount I believe will be this piece. So I do apologise, at this point I don't know which is which, so there might be a lot of install this onto that, but this is obviously going to be the instruments, instrument mount instruments. So this is the instruments, and this is the instruments, or this could be the instruments. I'm so sorry guys. And this will obviously be the instrument glass. The minor instruments, this will be the minor instruments, and these are stickers, all the instruments, the minor instruments. Minor instrument glass, so that's this piece here. We have got the heater control and the dash pan. The heater control must be this one, and dash pan, and the mixture control, micro switch and leads. So we have got we've got these, and I really don't know what the names are. And then we have a lead, so this is a little switch, and then we have JP4 screws and we have JP6 screws. There we go. And we will also need, in addition, the dashboard that we received in the previous issue, and we will need the steering wheel, which we complete in issue 3. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is taking the instrument mount, which is this piece, and the instrument panel, and we're going to be sticking this onto there, and we need to line this hole up in the middle, and the easiest way for us to do this will be to peel it off the backing paper, and this looks like it's been cut by hand. It's quite interesting. If you see the paper, it's not quite straight on the cut. So now the easiest way to do this, obviously we want to line this hole up, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to see if I can find myself a tiny paintbrush or something that will fit through there. Look at that. So I'm going to pop something through there, anything that will fit that hole, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the sticker and we're going to pop that through the hole, and what we'll do is we'll use that to line this up, and I can see that's the wrong way round. So with this long sticky out bit more towards the right, we're going to bring that in together, and there. Now I haven't pressed it down hard, because if it doesn't line up properly we can just gently pull that back, and then we can try again. We can just keep lining that up. Once we're happy with one side, there we go. But there seems to be a lot of emphasis on making sure that hole is clear, which as you can see from there it is just about. So the next thing we want to do is, I'm just trying to find some pictures. So we want to be taking this micro switch, and this is the micro switch. It's got a label on it 04, and it looks like we want to just pull this wire back a bit. So you see how the wire is going up, we actually want that to be coming back just like that. And always bend these slowly, because if you bend them too much the friction could break it. And then what we're aiming to do now is to pop this into the dashboard, and let's make sure we hold it correctly, and that will go into there. There's a hole down there, and that will go into there, and now you can see why we need to bend the wire so that it fits in there. And then we'll have a little switch there. Okay, so after we fit the micro switch, we want to get the glass. Now you'll notice that there's a hole in the middle, and there's two little tiny green lights at the top, little green triangles. They're the indicator lights, and this wants to go in with the protrusions forwards and the painted lights forwards, and my switch is just fallen out, so that can go into there like so. And for me that's a rather tight fit, so there may be a slight bit of filing required. Let me have a look. Yeah, there's a little bit of flash in there, so I'm going to just first of all just try and run my knife just around that little hole, just to remove any flash. We'll see if that improves. There we go. So that's gone in fine. Had that not been enough there after removing the flash with a knife, I could have just run around with a little round needle file. So let's just pop this back in where it's fallen out. Okay. Right, so the next step is to take our instrument panel, and with the protruding side to the left, we want to place that on there like that, and you'll see the protrusion will actually hold the switch in place there, so that switch isn't going to come out. And there's the panels, the instrument panels and the little indicator lights. Okay, so once we've got our panel in place, we want to be taking 2 JP6 screws and 1 JP4 screw, and what we'll be doing is we're popping a JP6 screw in there and there, and in that smaller hole there'll be the JP4 screw. So I'm going to pop the first JP6 screw onto the left hand side of the panel, which will be the middle of this actual piece. And we don't want to go too hard, we only need to go hard enough that the instrument panel is secured in place. So I'll pop the first one in, or the second one, sorry, and that's going in like that. And because this is plastic, this will tell you when to stop, and I can feel that and see that that's in enough. And then what we'll do is we'll pop the JP4 screw in, and that will just secure that micro switch in place. There we go, lovely. And there's the switch, and there's the panels, beautiful. Okay, so for the next step we want to be doing our minor instrument panel, and we're going to need these three pieces. Watch this one because it's very hard to see with it being clear. Now this panel, this instrument panel, you want to take the instruments so that all the dials are pointing downwards. And what we're going to do, I would recommend just removing just a little bit of the backing paper. And on mine the backing paper is just slightly bigger than the paper, and what I like to do is take a piece of this backing paper, it's very hard to see on camera, I apologise, and we're just going to fold back just a tiny bit. Can you see there? And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick that into the recess there, and by popping just a tiny bit in, we can just push that into the corner there. And then once we're happy with the position of that, we can then take something like tweezers, and we can just push down really hard on the sticky part, and you can see that it's only stuck just a little bit. That will enable us to then bring this sticker up. We can then take this tab that we've made, and then we can slowly push that panel down so that we don't lose our oops, I didn't mean to throw the tweezers. So you see there that we've used that as a guide. We've made sure we've lined the first bit up. Once we're happy with that, we then pull that paper off, and I've actually lost the piece. There it is. So there's the piece of backing paper. Then we're going to pop these this glass into there with the protruding piece upwards into there like so, and there doesn't seem to be a particular orientation. And then we'll finish that off with this, and obviously we're going to need the holes up. We're going to line those screw holes there, and that goes into there like so, and that does not want to fit. So let's try this a different way. Let's pop the glass in first. Okay, interesting. So it might well be that there is an orientation with the glass. Yes. So there we go. So there is an orientation with the glass. If you put it in the wrong way round, that's just not going to go in. Okay, so once we have that in, we're going to secure that in with two JP4 screws. And it has to be JP4 screws because there are no other screws provided for us. So let's, holding that with my finger, and I'm just going to pop that screw. Now these screws look like they're too small for that particular hole. We shall see. That's gone in slightly wonky, so what I'll do is I'll pop the second screw in. Wow, this is tricky. I'm having a lot more trouble here than I need to. Wow, okay, I can feel that pushing that panel in. So this screw that's gone in wonky, I can now take that out and pop that in properly. There we go. So yeah, that's really nice. As you pull this, as you screw this in, you can feel that panel tightening against there, and that really is not going anywhere. Okay, so the next stage, we want to pop these little switch panels in. They're going to go there and there. Now, looking at these, the difference between these two is one has got one switch on it. I really can't get the focus today. Why am I not focusing? There we go. And this one's got two switches on it, and in addition, the locating peg is quite hard to see here, but it's slightly bigger on one side. Now the larger peg will be on the lower part, smaller on the top, and the easiest way to remember which switches which is to count 1, 2. Simple. So the one with the one switch goes there, and let's try and pop this in the wrong way round. So the bottom peg will go in with ease, but the top peg won't go in, as you can see there. So we turn that around, we pop both pegs into there, and that's still a tough connection. Really, yeah, I can see I've got a little tiny bit of flash there on the hole, so we'll just get our knife. We'll just clear that hole slightly, and just checking that the peg hasn't got a square hole on it. Do you know what? I have got that wrong. So looking at the magazine, it looks like it's the wrong way around, but this one has actually got a slightly squared off peg. You can't really see it. So that, yeah, now that goes in really easily. So actually two switches go on this side. So I'm looking at the video and it does look like you've got two holes there. It could just be the reflection, but that means that this one's obviously going to go into this side like so. Yeah, I can see it now, it is reflection. So please forgive me. This part there, right where my knife is, the way that it's reflected, can you see there? 1, 2, it looks like there's two switches. So to correct myself, to remember which one is which, you need to count backwards to 1. So this one has got a little square peg at the bottom, this one's got a round one, but look, they're in, and you can see they're looking absolutely lovely. Okay, and we're going to finish this off now with the steering column. Now what we need to be doing is taking the steering column and the steering column surround and this control switch. Now what it asks us to do is, first of all, we need to place this onto the steering wheel. Now you'll notice here that it's got a flattened edge on it. There we go, and that's going to fit nicely into there, and that we're going to push that in as far as we can, and then we can finish that off with a small hammer or something hard, and we're just going to make sure it's on a soft surface. There we go. We're just going to bang that home as much as we can. We don't want to ram this in so much that we're trying to force it out the other side, but we want to make sure that steering wheel's not going to fall off on its own. So this is actually the actual hammer, well, not the actual, but this is the same hammer that they're using in Model Space's own video. This is a craft hammer, but obviously you don't want to be using a great big carpentry hammer, but something gentle just to knock that home a little bit. Now I'm going to just jump stages a little bit because it's asking us to pop this in first. Sorry, right, so we're going to take this one now. This is the one where we've got the inside exposed and this larger hole towards the top, and I think it's going to be easy to pop this in first. So round about where you've got this massive stuff going on here, we've got a locating peg there, and we want to, with the handle going towards the right, and you'll see you've got a little bit there, that's going to go in there like that so that it doesn't move. Now the next bit it says to do before this, but I think this is going to be easier. So we've got the steering column, and you'll see there the first two notches there, sorry, what do you call that, a raised line. So two raised line, ignore that one for now. We've got those two there, and if we just take this part of the steering column, those two raised bits want to go the outside of those. So we'll bring our steering column in like that, and you see that I've pulled it up as far as it will go, place it down, and then just to make sure we try to push it down. There is a slight bit of movement, but I think that will be fine, and that's perfect. And we'll just check it can move, which it can, and then we're going to take this piece, which is the opposite piece, and we're going to place that, whoops, just dropped it. We're going to try and place this so that it matches, and we're going to hold that tightly in place, make sure that still moves, which it does. Now you could, if you want, pop some kind of lubricant. I really don't want to use any oil. In one of my recent videos, one of my viewers left a comment about graphite powder, and I think that would be a really good idea. I don't have any graphite powder at the moment, so I'm not going to do that, but I don't think it'll be an awful idea. So that's in place. So what we want to be doing now is we want to be fixing this with a total of 8 JP4 screws. So let's start with the easiest ones, which will be these two, and once we get these first two in, we won't need to be holding this steering column quite so hard, because obviously at the moment we're holding it so that it doesn't fall apart. And once these two go in, this in effect becomes our third hand. There we go. And then we want to pop, sorry, there we are. So there's the two screws. We now want to rotate that 180 degrees, and then we want to secure with that hole and that hole. So and I'm going to pop this one all the way furthest down. There we go, that's gone in fine, lovely. And then a fourth screw to just complete holding this together, and that's going in there. And then if you're anything like me, you're looking at how small these screws are, and you're looking at those holes and panicking a little bit, but all will be revealed in about 5 seconds. Right, so they're in, lovely. So next we want to be taking our dashboard, and on the driver's side you'll see 4 locating pegs. So these large screw holes that we were panicking about a second ago, we want to turn this this way. We want the larger holes exposed like that, and what we'll be doing is we'll be placing our steering column over those holes, and that's not the most perfect fit. Sometimes when we put things in, they really locate in place, but so long as this is over those 4 holes, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to be holding this quite firmly until we probably get our first 2 screws in, I would say. So I'm going to do my opposite method. So using 2 JP4 screws, this is the last 4 of the 8. I'm going to screw the first one in there. Any one will do for the first one, but the second screw I would recommend diagonally opposite, and then that will start to secure that steering wheel in place. Now normally I would put them in just enough to bite. For some reason I haven't done that today, so that's actually in quite securely just with the 2 screws, so that's really promising. And obviously once we get these 3rd and 4th screws in, that certainly isn't going anywhere. And this is just kind of clicked into place, so it's kind of moved a little bit. So the reason there's 4 screw holes is to really make sure that's an exact position, and this is, believe it or not, going to be a precision piece of equipment, because as we know, this piece here is going to locate with something, and that's going to control our front wheels. So we'll just make sure those screws are in place. And I have got to say, guys, that is an absolutely fantastic piece of work this week. It is such a shame that we got the magazine last week on such a simple piece, which was the dashboard only, but as you can see, the resources are out there, and even without the magazine it's still buildable. But it would have been a lot easier with the magazine, obviously, but you can still produce something really nice. It was a very complicated issue, but it's still, yeah, it's still enough to do. So that leaves us to the end. So I have no fancy graphics, but it's also the last one of the pack, and because I don't have the magazine, I can't clearly show you what we're getting next week, but what I can tell you is that we're going to be getting a dashboard top, grab handle, glove compartment and screws. So that sounds exciting. So maybe I should get my non-posh driving gloves ready. This is what I use for my job, and also in the winter to keep me warm. But yeah, I have my gloves ready, and next week we'll be receiving the glove box, so hopefully I'll catch you then. Bye bye.